This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Jeanette Peacock. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Oh, Angel, I couldn't be better. It's a great day in Denver. It's a great day in the world, and there's so much opportunity out there for kids, for parents, for families, for everyone who's just ready to embrace it. So, good day.
That's wonderful. I'm glad that you're having a great day. Do tell me, my friend, then, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Well, it's funny you should ask that because I feel like I have a plethora that I'm trying to focus in. But the big picture is that I design and I deliver training programs to thousands of people. I'm a certified life and executive coach who serves as a thinking partner to leaders and to their teams. And on top of that, I'm also a productivity and a success coach to professionals who I train how to create vision, how to work with optimized workflow, how to be at the top of their games, and how to beat the competition. But that's the big picture. What I'm really most proud of and passionate about, and what we're here to talk about today, is my work with kids and their parents, because I am on a mission to train kids how to learn. And I do that by training them how to hack into their brains and how to harness the power of their brains so that they can guarantee success in school and forever. And because I want that training to stick, I also train their parents how to parent with intention so that everyone in their family thrives and so that they can make collaboration the norm and harmonious, and so that they can develop calm and connected family relationships that truly last a lifetime. And I do these trainings through my business, Learn to Learn Now, and now through a nonprofit organization that I just launched in January that's very near and dear to my heart and very personal, called Stepping Up for Children in Need, the Annette Foundation, which has as its mission to level the playing field for all children by delivering to them the same training available in my commercial venture, really to those kids and those caregivers who need it most, along with some big scale initiatives like statewide peer-to-peer tutoring programs and learning how to cope webinars. And it's my mission, like I said before, to level the playing field and equip these kids in particular with the skills that are proven to set them on the road to success and to keep them there.
Wow, where did the inspiration come from for all of this?
Well, in terms of wanting to train children how to learn, the truth is that I learned how to learn in elementary school. My peers and I, when I was as young as first grade, we weren't memorizing facts or figures. Instead, by the time I was done with fourth grade, I could learn anything, no matter the subject, no matter how difficult. I could do it on demand. And the reason for that is because we were quite literally, from first grade on, taught how to tap into our mental processes, how to self-regulate our performance, how to apply strategy and techniques throughout the entire learning process to optimize results. And we're also trained things like how to self-soothe emotions whenever we felt stress or anxiety, so that we could very strategically clear our minds and calm it so that we could actually learn. But here's the thing. I thought everyone was trained to learn like that. I thought everyone was trained how to learn. But then I had kids, and those kids went to school. And when they were in school, I realized that I was blessed with an incredibly unique developmental experience and opportunity. And because I wanted that same experience for my own kids, I leveraged my background in training to partner with neuroscientists and learning experts and psychologists so that I could put together really individual training modules for my own children so that they could learn how to learn. And what I learned from that research is that every single person, with the exception of those people born with atypical brain structure or those having suffered some sort of a traumatic brain injury, every other person has the same potential to learn and to be productive, but only if they're trained how to do it. And here in the United States, we don't train kids how to learn, nor do we equip parents with the skills to help them learn and help them set themselves up for success. And I didn't think that was fair. I didn't think that was at all fair, that type of training was held in reserve for those children who are lucky enough to be able to go to exclusive, extremely expensive private schools.
How confident are you that your content works?
I'm extremely confident. So I've been working on this for 10 years. I've trained thousands of kids. I have a long wait list to train more. So the results are extremely exciting. But I didn't create the science behind this. I borrowed the science from neurologists and from psychologists, from neuroeducators. And, I train them 6 key strategies for effective learning. I train them key coping skills. I train them collaboration skills, because we all know that these are going to be extremely important things for the future. And more than that, we know that these skills and these traits and these behaviors are what leading economists and the likes of Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, they say are critical to have in order to remain relevant in this ever-changing world of the future. They say that these skills are the employment currency of tomorrow. And there's no doubt that the employment landscape is changing every day, and it's going to continue to change. In fact, a recent study by the U.S. Department of Labor that I read not too long ago predicts that a worker who enters the labor force today will have between 10 and 14 different jobs by the time they are 38. And top talent will be mobile, and it'll be global. And the way we work and the way that we earn a living will be radically different from how we do it. And it'll be different in the very near future. And as technology continues to explode and AI becomes more part of the norm, and with increasingly strict labor laws, employers won't run the risk of hiring people for full-time positions anymore like they used to. Instead, most work as we think of it will be outsourced. And the idea of being employed by an organization or a company for large chunks of time and the security that went along with that type of employment, it's gone. And in the very near future, we'll see a massive shift towards work on demand. People will come together on projects, and when the project is finished, they'll move on in search of another project. So people will be known in the future for their skill sets, which they'll wrap up into their personal brand portfolios, and that's what will get them work, and that's what will get them financial security. And the Gates and the Musks of the world tell us that the very most important and the differential skill that a person must have in order to be successful in the future is the ability to know how to learn. And the marketplace will drive the need for constant adaptation as the concept of work continues to evolve. And so employers will need people who can learn and change on a dime. And that's why I'm so passionate, as you can probably hear in my voice, about equipping kids with these skills so that as they face the future and they risk being made obsolete by AI, they're ready and they have an opportunity to stay in the game.
All right, Jeanette. Wow, you definitely went on a run there. And I love it because you're representing your passion. That's beautiful. Let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you now into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Jeanette, what is your earliest childhood memory?
First of all, I love the idea sitting here in Denver, Colorado, having just had what feels like 20 feet of snow drop on us. The idea of envisioning a blue sky and warm weather and sand at a beach. So with that in mind, when I think back to my earliest childhood memory, what comes to mind for me is being 3 years old and having to get my appendix out and having to spend the night at the hospital. And I can very vividly remember climbing out of my crib over and over and over again until finally a nurse came along and she fashioned some sort of a net to try to keep me in, but it didn't keep me in. I just taught myself how to untie knots that night, and I didn't give up until finally they sedated me. I remember that as clear as day, climbing out of that crib and that woman trying to stop me.
Why do you think it's so clear?
Oh gosh, I think what sticks for me for that, and I think that the reason that comes back to me so often is that I already understood at that young of an age that I couldn't and shouldn't give up, no matter what it was. And not to look at failure as the end, but rather as an opportunity to find another way. And I think about climbing out of that crib over and over, learning to untie those knots and to overcome that obstacle. And today, I think we'd call that having grit and resilience, which are two of the other mindsets that we try to install in kids. But for me, it is just recognition of how lucky I was as a kid to have the type of parents who installed that kind of thinking in us, even as young as 3 years old. I feel very blessed to have had them.
That's amazing. I love it. All right. I would say one thing that really sticks out to me, the process of muscle memory. I think it's really intriguing. Muscle memory requires repetition, doesn't it? So
Yep.
To see what you were doing, just getting out of the crib, getting out, you were learning a ton. And now you're doing that for so many other people, right? Helping them with that perspective as well. I'm guessing muscle memory is part of it, yeah? Doing the task, is it?
Well, in fact, that's a great way to put it. We call it mental memory or brain memory. So, but you know what? You've hit it right on the head because it's exactly the same process. It is training someone. In fact, let me step back. It's installing the conditions for success in someone very young as a 3-year-old, but in our program, as young as first and second grade. We're training them how to learn, and we do that by training them some things like retrieval practice and spaced repetition and doing things over and over and over until it becomes a very part of their fabric. It becomes a part of their personal cultures, and it becomes part of their family cultures. And that's exactly what it is. It is the brain form of muscle memory.
Love it. Tell me, what was your favorite song at 12?
I loved the Beatles. I loved the Beatles because my dad and my mom were huge Beatle fans, and my favorite song was Let It Be.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Love it. Yeah, Let It Be.
Let It Be.
Let it
Yep.
be. Yeah, let it be. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Jeanette, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Absolutely.
Are you married?
I have. Yes, I'm married.
Do you have children?
I have 2 sons, both adults, and I have 2 nieces who are the daughter of my deceased sister, Annette, who actually is the inspiration between our foundation and I now call my own. And my youngest niece has two children of her own, and so now I am a grandmother figure. I like to think of myself as a very young grandmother figure, but yes, I'm a grandmother figure.
Do you believe in God?
I absolutely believe in God. In fact, I've been blessed to have had events in my life that give me 100% confidence in His existence, things that go so far beyond the possibility of coincidence or the explainable by any other explanation, but by His existence. I am very blessed to have that certainty. It makes me fearless, and it makes me accountable in my life.
Were you reading that from somewhere? Did you just say that off the top of your head?
I just said that.
That's
I
very
just
powerful.
said that.
All right.
Thank you.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do. So I'm Italian by heritage, and in the Italian culture, your family is everything.
Do you
So,
watch TV
you
for
know,
more than 3 hours a day?
no, absolutely not. I don't have time. I wish I did have a little bit more time for leisure activity, but I really don't.
How about
I'm
3
a
hours a
reader.
week? How about 3 hours a week?
3 hours a week, absolutely. We all need some downtime, and we need some time for our brains to recover. And I though typically do it through reading, I absolutely will engage in some movies and things along that line.
Do you cook?
I do cook. I'm learning more and more to cook.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm a big Italian cooker, but I'm learning more about healthier choices these days.
And what about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh my gosh, it's so much less than 8 hours a day. But I use a productivity system called time boxing, and it optimizes my workflow. And it has built-in systems that keep me off of just mindless surfing. So anytime that I'm on the computer or any device, it's really driven from a need.
If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Jeanette Peacock, what would you say that is?
I would say that Jeanette Peacock lives with intention every single day to bring value to myself and to others in ways that guarantee success in life and in love.
Amazing audience, you have to imagine it was challenging to keep this young lady to 12 minutes, not because of her slow speaking, not even because of her quick speaking, but because of the quality of the content that she's been interacting with in her life from a passion perspective and taking action on it. Proud of you. Jeanette, this was a great pleasure.
You. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me and letting me have some time on your 12-minute Conversations podcast. I greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome. That's why I say, Jeanette Peacock, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.